Welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. Thanks for joining me, however you may be joining, whether that's on 94.1 on your FM dial. If you happen to be listening online via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player at sasportstar.com, or if you happen to be watching the show live on YouTube, that's right. We stream all of our shows live via YouTube. Just go to SA Sports Star on YouTube. Like, subscribe. You can comment along with the show. Ty Jones, Fred Casares, Jacob Eric already in the chat. Let's go, as that is something that has been different this year. And while they're not major moves, the Dallas Cowboys have made a lot of moves this offseason, which is completely different from last offseason because they made no moves within the first 3 weeks and then signed Eric Kendricks and then did nothing for a long period of time and then signed Zeke Elliott after the draft. This year, Cowboys actually making some moves. And while they are smaller, lesser deals, they are high upside type deals. You look at Solomon Thomas, who was a 3rd overall pick, Kyer Elam, who they just traded for. He was a 23rd overall pick. Kenneth Murray, I believe, was 23rd overall, traded up for the Los Angeles Chargers. Loved him coming out of Oklahoma. I mean, they are doing really well. They signed another linebacker today, Jack Sanborn, who played for Eberflus when he was with the Bears. He was also a PFF all-rookie his rookie year as an undrafted free agent in 2022. So Jane Slayer mentions that they're not in the mix right now for Cooper Kupp, and that's fair considering what they're spending money on and how you see it. Javonte Williams, a 2nd-round pick just a few years ago. They're looking for high upside potential while filling these holes. Linebacker, defensive line. You look on the corner. I mean, they're getting things done. Running back, to where they're not beholden to much in the draft unless, let's say, Tatiro McMillan out of Arizona falls to him, which would be a perfect complement to CeeDee Lamb on the other side. Now they have a Jonathan Mingo, I know. There's the potential that they could bring back to Brandon Cooks. But there's a lot of openness with their draft and which way they can go with that 12th overall pick with all the holes that they've kind of been plugging through free agency. The Blitz was talking about this earlier today as Jason and Joe were mentioning all these Cowboy news, and then also got hit with the news that, well, while they're signing all these players, they did lose one massive piece to the Cowboys. One of the longest tenured Cowboys retired, and Zach Martin, now another one, found his way out the door.
Breaking news, like DeMarcus Lawrence, he will not be coming back to the Dallas Cowboys.
Going to the Seattle Seahawks. He's reached a deal with them. I don't see any numbers just yet. Not sure if you do, Jason, but I don't see any numbers. But everybody now reporting this, that DeMarcus Lawrence is headed to Seattle. He is now a Seahawk.
It'll be very interesting to see the numbers for Tank Lawrence. I was kind of hoping that a guy like D-Law, if he'd left Dallas, which I expected him to, that he would go somewhere like DeMarcus Ware and go get a ring. And that ain't going to happen in Seattle. I am not sure what the hell Seattle is doing, because they've made moves this offseason that feel like they're going to tear it all down and rebuild. And then they've made other moves that make you feel like they're keeping the boat afloat. I mean, you get rid of your quarterback and your best wide receiver. You release your cornerstone locker room guy in Lockett. You sign Sam Darnold. You sign a DeMarcus Lawrence. So at least it looks like they want to stay competitive, but they're not a better football team. I mean, Darnold, if he plays like he did in Minnesota, a cheaper version of what you had with Geno Smith. Wow. DeMarcus Lawrence, according to Tom Pelissero, is getting a 3-year deal worth up to $42 million from the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow.
$18 million guaranteed.
Wow. Well, I've said this before. I don't blame the Cowboys for
Yeah.
not doing that. I think Tank Lawrence's best days are behind him. So if he resurrects his career in Seattle, God bless him. But I'm not upset with the Cowboys for not matching a deal like that or paying him. Now, there were reports that they were talking.
Yep.
And it may have been that Lawrence came to the Cowboys and said, "Look, Seattle's offering me this. Do you want to match that?"
No.
And Jerry said no.
He spit out his bourbon. It was like,
good luck to you.
I mean, and again, the Cowboys have drafted to replace DeMarcus Lawrence over the last couple of years. Now they got to get those guys to stay healthy. That's the big thing that they've got to do, is those guys have to stay healthy now. So DeMarcus Lawrence officially done in Dallas. This should shock nobody, but it's still kind of a gut punch when it actually does happen, when you get a player that has always said he wanted to play his entire career with one team, but he has run his course. And I'm glad Zach Martin didn't do the same thing, but at the same time, it was time to let him go. And my goodness, could you imagine if Jerry would have given DeMarcus Lawrence another $18 million guaranteed on a $42 million contract?
No. Guy's 33 years old. And maybe he does. Maybe he resurrects his career. Everybody needs a change of scenery from time to time. And maybe this is D-Law's change of scenery, and he'll resurrect his career. But he's an injury problem too. So that's something the Seahawks are going to have to deal with. But we'll see what happens.
Well, he had the foot injury last year. So if he's healthy, he's still going to be solid. But his age and him staying healthy, a 3-year deal for Tank, I don't know that many projected that. He's going to be 33 next month.
That's it. So we'll see what happens. But I'm okay with the Cowboys not matching that deal and letting him walk. Now we'll see how these rookies do, because they're not rookies anymore, but we'll see how these young guys do and fill in that spot, because they're going to have to now. They're going to get their opportunity. Sam Williams, Luafau, those guys are going to, they're going to get an opportunity now. So we'll see what happens.
And still no word on Micah Parsons.
No, Micah's in Qatar.
Well, I mean,
he's not worried about it.
His agent isn't. They've got phones.
I wonder how a guy like Micah Parsons, though, looks at something like that and what he thinks about it. He's a smart guy. He's got to know that, hey, father time. And sometimes you gotta let guys like that go.
Which is why you got to max out when you can. And again, knowing when your time is up with an organization, obviously Seattle still believes he's got something in, and they got the room to sign him. But like I said, the Cowboys have drafted for D-Law's departure. And so to get the most out of those young guys and see what you really have, you got to get them on the field. And, they've cleared the deck by saying bye to DeMarcus Lawrence. And again, we've been saying it all offseason. Be surprised if he's back, and it would have to be a very, very team-friendly deal for the Cowboys. And that certainly wouldn't be. Happy for Tank, bummed that he's gone. All mixed emotion over there with Tank Lawrence saying goodbye.
Yeah, you're seeing that a lot on with some of the guys that cover the Cowboys on a regular basis. Kind of, sucks. Not surprising to a lot of them, and but seeing him and Zach Martin both gone is going to be a different feel for the Cowboys. But that's life in the NFL, man.
Lots going on with the Dallas Cowboys. All the talk about Tank Lawrence, the former Cowboy, and the idea that Tank Lawrence now signs with Seattle. Andre Darty used to be with the Cowboys, is now the Seahawks defensive coordinator. That makes sense. And with Zach Martin gone and Tank Lawrence gone, Dak Prescott, the now longest tenured Dallas Cowboy.
Wow.
Think about that.
How about that?
Think about that. But the Cowboys aren't done. Ian Rappaport, Cowboys, finishing stages of a trade for Titans linebacker Kenneth Murray. The teams are swapping late round picks. Now, Kenneth Murray, former Oklahoma Sooner, out of Missouri City, Texas.
26 years old, young guy. Haven't seen any numbers on this guy. I'm sure those will appear here shortly, but I think another safe pick probably for the Dallas Cowboys. but another linebacker, another need for the Cowboys. And look, I don't know. And again, nothing eye-popping here for Dallas, but you got to be impressed with the activity of the Cowboys after doing absolutely nothing last year. They have been extremely active in the first 3 days of this free agency frenzy.
Well, and again, you look at Murray coming out of Oklahoma was a first-round draft pick in 2020 for the Chargers. Played for the Chargers, played okay. Then he signs a 2-year deal with Tennessee last offseason. He was named a team captain to start the 2024 season. Played 14 games till he broke his wrist late in the year, and obviously that ended his season. 95 tackles, 3.5 sacks, had an interception with the Titans last year. And again, Tennessee, they're cleaning house, getting rid of some stuff. Not sure what his contract status is after that 2-year deal. But this was a guy that was voted as a team captain. That says a lot. And another former first-round draft pick that, quite frankly, hasn't quite lived up to his expectations, although in 4 years playing in the NFL, 73 games, he's got 271 tackles. Linebacker, again, another need that they are addressing, and you could classify this as
we're going to be selectively aggressive.
And yeah, and they are selectively aggressive. They've been extremely aggressive, but it has been selective. And by that, now maybe we know what that means. It's nothing huge, but it's guys that are former first rounders. We've had several of those happen, and guys that aren't expensive. And I think all of that sets up because, well, they've got Micah Parsons waiting in the wings. Now, according to who's this NFL? I don't know what I'm looking at here. Ian Rappaport's who I'm looking at. It's exactly. Murray signed a 4-year, $12 million, just about a $13 million rookie contract that included a $7 million signing bonus when he signed with Tennessee. Contract included a 5th-year option for the Chargers to pick up in 2024, but they declined it. So he's coming out of Tennessee. It caught on with the Titans back in March, so he didn't start with the Titans. Just learn about these guys because I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard of any of them.
Well, Murray, I remember from Oklahoma. Not really what he's done in the NFL, but again, seeing he gets with the Titans and as a team captain. And what I find interesting is the Cowboys have made a number of trades, and as opposed to signing outside free agents. Interesting with what they're doing, and they're addressing problem areas. So when you talk about filling voids, you think about what Jerry had said the other day, taking him at his word. He said he did not plan to fill voids in free agency. He's doing it through trades, though, and taking some of those later picks and using those. And if you're the Cowboys front office, you gave up a 5th and a 7th for a former first rounder. Whatever this draft pick ends up being, and I haven't seen what it is, and it's probably, according to Ian Rappaport, swapping late round picks. So you're getting a former first rounder and giving up a late round pick, but also getting a late round pick. You got to credit the Cowboys for doing some good work. You can't be mad at the Cowboys' effort right now. Again, might not be the big splash player, low risk, high reward, selectively aggressive, but you're also filling areas of needs where those voids were. I mean, they're helping their defense, which again, you look at these moves and apply it to what they might do in the draft. New head coach is an offensive guy and your offensive coordinator. So are you helping out your new defensive coordinator and Matt Eberflus with trades and other work during free agency, because you're going to have a very offensive heavy draft coming up in April.
I think that's exactly what you're seeing here. You've gotten 2 linebackers in a corner just today, right? So you're addressing some of those needs. Look, the Chargers traded up to get this guy back in 2020, traded up with the Patriots, and they drafted him with the number 23 overall pick in the 2020 draft. So
this tweet from Shireen Williams is gold.
Uh,
Stand by. Temper your excitement on this Murray guy. Shireen Williams tweets, Titans beat writers are wondering how the team got anything for Kenneth Murray, so the Cowboys will get to see if they can, quote, coach him up.
so not exactly impressive. Well, I mean, the Chargers didn't like him. They declined the fifth-year option. He's gone. Tennessee picks him up in March, and according to the beat writers, they're not impressed with him either.
That's okay, because you know what? I am impressed with Kenneth Murray because of where he's going. We say this in the NFL about quarterbacks a lot. I mean, look at Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. There's a lot of failures until you find the right fit scheme, whatever it may be. Nnamdi Asomugha was perfect in Philadelphia, playing in that zone blitz man press. He went to at the time Oakland, and was a shell of himself when he got there because they were asking him to play more zone coverage. So it's going to be very interesting. Scheme is a big thing to me. So is coaching. And while he's the defensive coordinator, his background is in linebackers. Matt Eberflus made those Cowboys linebackers great. He was a fantastic linebacker coach. As a defensive coordinator in Indianapolis, he turned Zaire Franklin into an all-pro. He has not been that since Eberflus left the building. So Matt Eberflus, I trust to be able to get the best out of someone like him. He's already gotten the best out of Jack Sanborn, who he's bringing back. And while that was going on, a little breaking news, Cowboys lose another one, along with DeMarcus Lawrence. Now Rico Dowdle is out of the building as he is signing a one-year deal with the Carolina Panthers worth up to $6.25 million. So you've got very limited depth behind Javonte Williams right now, who you signed earlier this week. Now you got to add to that, but you're not beholden to taking a Genti at 12 or Omarion like Hampton. You've got possibilities. You can take a Quinshon Judkins or a Travion Henderson in the second or third round, or a Cam Scattaboo. Like this is a very, and I don't think people understand enough because of all the talk about Genti, how deep this running back draft truly is. You can wait and get great backs later in this draft. You don't have to splurge unless he is on your board at the highest point when it's your turn to draft at 12. If he is the highest rated player on your boards, by all means. But you, especially with the addition of Javonte Williams, you shouldn't feel beholden into drafting a certain person at 12 or position. That way, you can make the best of your draft. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 941 FM, sasportstar.com. When we come back, man, it might be time to hang it up for this man. It might be time for a legend to finally walk away because it is getting tougher and tougher on this guy, and his body is just falling apart. We'll discuss when we come back here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Thursday on the Morning Huddle, it has been a busy week. Spurs, Mavericks, could they overcome the manpower advantage? And, oh, by the way, conference tournaments are busy, too.
And NFL free agency rolls on. Any more big moves for the Cowboys? We'll talk about that and plenty more. Morning Huddle starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
When it comes to great deals on tax prep, Jackson Hewitt isn't holding back, and neither is this commercial. Their offer is so big, it has to be said with Reverb. Expert tax prep for $149 or less. It's a deal so spectacular, it needs a symphony, some explosions, and a clock ticking, because this offer, $149 or less. And soon, one expert tax prep for $149 or less. Try Jackson Hewitt today and save. Whew. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
It's Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. If you're just joining us, well, Rico Dowdle no longer a Dallas Cowboy. He has signed a 1-year, $6.25 million deal with the Carolina Panthers. He will likely be backing up Chuba Hubbard, although I will say they got a good firsthand look at Rico Dowdle earlier this year, and Dowdle ran for 149 yards against Carolina in December. So might be that kind of lasting impression that he left on the Panthers, especially with Jonathan Brooks still struggling to stay healthy coming off that ACL and then re-tearing it late in the season. Very, very difficult for the former Longhorn, but wish him the best. They now have a 1-2 punch of Hubbard and Dowdle in Carolina, and the Cowboys are looking for their 2 to the 1-2 punch. Now, as it pertains to other athletes that have had shocking injuries, well, one of the greatest of all time, he popped his Achilles the other day, put it out on Twitter, underwent minimally invasive surgery, whatever that means, on his torn Achilles, and is going through the rehab process. So you start to wonder at what point maybe will, if ever, we see Tiger Woods on the PGA Tour again. The Morning Huddle was talking about Tiger and the just accumulation of injuries late in his career.
Believe that? I don't know. What do I know?
golf swing. If you at any point in your life under the age of 80,
I mean,
blow a tendon on a golf swing.
I've seen people get hurt doing
hurts one thing, but blowing an Achilles, like ripping your Achilles tendon off the bone on a backswing.
I don't know.
Has it happened before?
Well, we're talking about Tiger. I don't know how Tiger Woods has had surgery now to repair a blown Achilles. I think it's time to have the talk. Like,
yes, he said he hurt himself. He tore an Achilles, had to have it reattached while practicing golf at home.
I think what we need to remember, and now they say it's a minimally invasive Achilles tendon repair.
So maybe it's not as bad as like the wind, the shade rolling up on a window, like I've seen with a couple of the Achilles. But dude, if you're to the point in your life in the 40s where a backswing pulls your Achilles tendon, you got bigger problems than trying to get in the Masters.
Let's talk about this. The surgery went smoothly. We expect a full recovery. Woods said he was back home in Jupiter, Florida, plans to focus on recovery and rehab. A timeline for his return to competition wasn't immediately known. Listen, man, Tiger Woods
your check engine lights on
is
brother.
49 years old. 49. We're expecting him to return to competition. Like, why don't we just I get it. And as a society, we like,
who really is, though? I mean, is there anybody who really believes that once he gets healthy? Is there anybody out there that, all he needs is health?
I think there are people who believe he can still win another major. Like,
we're getting to the point. I maybe there is. I'm not one of them, but I do remember.
Look at Scotty Scheffler. Like,
oh yeah, he's so
you gonna
far
beat that guy.
But there's still the draw. And this isn't even close because the only comparison would be Arnold. As far or Jack, as far as they're into their careers. Why you would just go, I didn't care if he shot 4 bogeys in a row. I wanted to see Jack swing the club.
I get that.
And I think that's why we want them there. But I recall wanting to go see Fred Couples. Fred was my favorite golfer until Tiger showed up. And Fred was done, but he was worth the price of admission just to go see my guy. And golf will never be what it was until Tiger's on the course. He doesn't have to be great, but he's got to be there.
But do you want Tiger for the last few years to like be out on
roll his
at the end of Friday?
Yes, I don't want to see him out on Friday. I do want to see him on Thursday and Friday. I want you to roll his lousy golf playing ass out. I don't care if he makes the cut. I just want to say I saw Tiger swing a club, just kind of like when I saw Michael play with the Wizards. I saw Michael play. Now, he was in a Wizards uniform at 40, wearing 45 at that age. He wasn't what he was, but damn it, I saw him. It mattered.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want that.
Well, for those that got to see him at his prime, it's different, but there's a whole generation that Tiger is just legend anyway. They don't remember what he was. They just remember what we told him he was.
Like for me, one of my favorite fighters was a guy. If you're a casual MMA fan, you don't know of this guy, but Fedor Emelianenko was he didn't fight in the UFC. He fought in Pride, which was like before the UFC was big. The best fighters in the world all fought in Pride in Japan. And Fedor Emelianenko was a Russian. He was the best guy in the world, and I would have put him up against anybody in the UFC. And I remember at the end of his career, like, he was still rolling out there and fighting in his 40s, and he was no longer the same guy at, obviously at 45, 46 years old and going out there and getting knocked out. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to see like some guy who in his prime, he would have waxed beating him up, because for me, it ruins like what I thought of the guy when he was like, I don't want to see Tiger show up at the Masters, shoot 15 over and not be there on Saturday and Sunday. Like,
I don't think you're going, but it's not, he's not dying like Fedor taking shots to the head. He's playing around a golf better than any golf you'll ever play. And he's still Tiger. You'll see him hit a shot that Tiger could have. That's the thing about golf. An 85-year-old man can still get a hole in one.
He's still tearing his ACL every time he swings, tearing his Achilles when he swings. It's like, dude, enough.
My point is, the thing, as good as Scheffler was, and no one has gone on a run like Scheffler did last year since Tiger back in 96. Yep. And as good as he was there's still a void. There is still more room to be filled, and it can only be filled by Tiger Woods. It can't be filled by Rory. It can't be filled by Chef. It can't be filled by the flavor of the month. It can't be filled by the only other person out there big enough to do it. He ain't good enough to play and doesn't play enough as Bubba, but no one will fill the void that Tiger has. And good, bad, or indifferent, I'd rather see him play bad golf on one leg than not see him at all.
Think about what you just said. We haven't seen a run like this since 1996 Tiger.
Yeah.
That was 30 years ago.
And it still hasn't, still not enough.
But imagine saying like, God, the NBA just isn't what it was. If only Allen Iverson could show up and give us some, give us some minutes.
Think about why the LIV exists. There's a reason why all this has happened, because nothing has measured up to Tiger. Nothing. No new golfer, no 8 golfers. They had to go find another league that kind of comes up with something that's even moderately interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know that. First, I think golf, the sort of the division in golf is weakening it, certainly. Like having LIV and PGA and now this whatever that TV screen golf, what do they call it? TGL, whatever. It's kind of watered down, but you can't manufacture stardom.
No,
for one, we know that. Like, I'm sure they'd love Scotty Scheffler to be this mega star like Tiger Woods was. He's just not. Some guys have it, some guys don't. But at the same time, holding on to your stars until the wheels fall off of, you know what it's like? It's like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, well, it shows your league is dying.
Yeah,
nobody's there to take the place.
We really need Aaron Rodgers out there.
I think he's a bum.
That he's gonna be the guy at the front of Sports Center no matter what. It's like Aaron Rodgers sucks now. Tiger Woods sucks now. He's not a good golfer anymore. I mean, relative. Obviously, yeah, he's shooting better than I would ever shoot. But if that's the goal, like I might as well watch my Uncle Chuck play, like, because he'll play a better round than I'll ever play. I don't need to see Tiger anymore. I'm good remembering Tiger for what he was.
I think.
What about Charlie?
Charlie's coming. The boy.
Yeah,
he's coming.
Yeah, give me that.
Right.
But I'm cool with that. And you know what? There might be your star if he ends up being worth his salt.
Let me tell you, we're praying for it.
But if he's Bronny James,
here we go.
I don't want to pretend. I don't want to talk about him. I don't want to.
Bronny has earned
to see and then Charlie Wood's going to be like the 4th favorite in the Masters, and it's like he's never broken par. It's like, right. Well, I don't need that.
The good thing about golf is there ain't no daddy golf. You prove it on the course. You know that you can be propped up, but a couple of cuts, you're just back there in the back seat like everybody else. You cannot manufacture stardom in golf. You literally have to win.
Well, and I mean, there's no stars in golf.
There's
really.
Not. That's again,
Tiger
my
is
point.
The star.
The void is so great that we're talking about a 49-year-old dude who's very recently off a near-death experience car crash, who has a ruptured Achilles, and we're going, you think there's any way you can play? Is there any way you can make it in there?
Who's the second biggest star since like the mid 90s in golf?
Since the mid 90s?
Is it Phil Mickelson?
It's Phil. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got no star power.
Now he's not even allowed in the building, man.
Maybe John Daly was kind of a star.
John Daly was the Harlem Globetrotters.
If he would have been better at
golf. He's a
golf.
sideshow.
No, he's the Harlem Globetrotters of golf. He's not. He's really fun to watch, but it's not competition golf. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And they're absolutely right. And Tiger had all of the aspects, the same that Michael Jordan did. He was a fierce competitor. People feared him on the course the way people feared Jordan. J4 says Spieth is a star. He's a star. He's not a superstar. Like the guys that carry that a sport the way Jordan helped to carry basketball in the 90s, the way Mahomes and Brady carry football, the way Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus carried golf before Tiger. Like, there's just nobody that has a Q rating that's extremely likable, divisive. I don't know the multitude of adjectives you want to use to define a superstar to carry a sport on his shoulders, but Tiger had that. He had the style, the red shirts, the black pants, the killer attitude, the fear of everyone else that was on the course with them. And there was always the what's he gonna do that I've never seen before. And that's one of the big factors of Tiger Woods. I remember still in awe, I will be in awe when I see him hit the shot on Pebble Beach during his round where he was the only one under par at that US Open, where he hits it in the rough on that par 5 off to the side near the ocean side. And he muscles a 7-iron 220 yards up the hill. It's still to this day one of the most incredible shots I've seen. And he had multitudes of those, finishing in the dark at the Firestone, shot over the tree and the bunker in the water on the 18th at the Canadian Open that he flagged. I mean, he took shots that most caddies would never say, hey, go for it here, especially with a lead. And he did it anyway. And that's what made Tiger must watch golf. And he had just the moment was never too big for him. And that's a big thing. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 941 FM, sasportstar.com. Tiger Woods is the reason I got into golf when I was a kid. I mean, he's a hero of mine in a sense. And I think it's time. And that's hard to say. More coming up here on Extra Innings with Pledger. We'll talk about the Spurs, the disappointment of what this season has become, and my goodness, the Spurs rebuild. What do we have to do to get this thing finally moving in the right direction? We'll talk about it next, right here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio Sports Star.
George gets justice. No amount of money can make up for a life-changing injury. I'm George Salinas, and at George Salinas Injury Lawyers, our team of attorneys will fight to get you the maximum compensation because we prepare and we care. So if you've been injured in an accident, get George. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers today at 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com.
George gets justice. GetGeorge.com.
With basketball season in full swing, make watching the game a little bit more exciting with your chance to win money with Underdog, one of the leading sports apps, and you can play in Texas. You could win up to 1,000 times your money with Underdog, playing the pick'em game where you pick higher or lower on predicted stats. You can play with as little as $1, and if you get everything right on your pick'em entry, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Yep, turn $1 into 1,000 with your hoops knowledge. Download the Underdog app and sign up using my promo code STAR to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona and Massachusetts, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Join the Blitz this Thursday and Friday live from the Round Table Pizza in New Braunfels on Thursday, Stone Oak location on Friday. Have a cheesy slice, talk sports, and enjoy delicious pizza and cold drinks. Plus, score some deals during happy hour starting at 3. We'll see you at Round Table Pizza.
This is Andrew Monaco, and the Aggies play here. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Love the comment section on YouTube. J4 made a great correlation. Tiger Woods, the effect he had on golf, it's very similar to the effect that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have had on the WNBA over the past year. And you're absolutely right. Plus, there aren't a whole lot of golfers where I remember individual shots, individual moments that just linger in my brain. Tiger, I've got a whole Rolodex of them. That's the difference. And he did a lot for the sport. Got me playing it. Got me watching it. Fred said he played 4 times with his brother-in-law. J4 said he started watching golf because of Tiger. The effect that he's had is immeasurable. And it'll be missed when it's all finally gone, which is like the TGL. I love watching it. I hate watching Tiger's team because I don't think they won a single match I watched this year. That sucks. And it's hard to deal with. But it's where we are right now. As for the Spurs, well, they're on their way back into the lottery yet again. Is there anything that can happen to finally pull them out of the way that they have been sputtering over the last 4 to 5 years? Well, the Blitz was talking about it a little bit earlier today.
Let's talk Spurs and Mavs, though, for a moment, because, well, they play tonight. A couple of teams that are tanking. And it's funny when you think about Devin Vassell, and Devin's been playing really good basketball since Wemby's gone out, at least on the offensive end. It's funny because he was asked this morning and was spouting off some stats about just how bad they are defensively, which you can't win playing the way they are winning right now.
Mentally, we just want to get back on the right track. I think they said in March we're 2-6, so we need to change that. They made a comment today. I think they said we're number 1 in offense and last in defense, and it's like there's no way we're going to win playing like that. So we got stuff that we got to fix, and we just talked about it as a team. And it's one thing to talk about it, but we got to fix it on the court.
Yeah, about that, Devin. I'm not sure that it's fixable at this point in time. Is it?
I'm not sure that you want to fix it.
Well, it doesn't matter. Look, they don't play any defense. Their offense is fine. Offensively, this team they obviously put up a lot of points, but they're giving up a hell of a lot more. And defensively, they're terrible. Now, you might expect that without Wemby in the lineup because he is your defensive guy. But, they're just not very good right now. And to get beat by the Dallas Mavericks in the condition they're in right now is really, really just kind of embarrassing. I mean, in my mind.
Again, there are very few games on the schedule left for the San Antonio Spurs that you're going to feel like they have a legitimate chance to win. Dallas is one of those, and they lost the other night. And again, for teams that are racing for the lottery, in Dallas right now, they're still in the play-in, which is not what they're trying to do. So, but Dallas, kind of similar. They're playing well offensively, but they're now 500. 3-7 in their last 10. Spurs have lost 3 in a row. They're 2-8 in their last 10. But I don't know. I'm thinking the Spurs probably win tonight, although Devin Vassell was on the injury report. So we'll see. But he talked this morning, so probably a good indicator that he actually will play tonight. But, it's just bizarre. And so we're almost at the point where you got to start looking around going, okay, playoffs aren't going to happen for the Spurs. So when the playoffs start, who do you think is going to win? And, I've been saying for a long time, I think the finals are going to be Oklahoma City and Boston. I really like what Cleveland is doing, and they're having fun. Did you see what they did to their rookie? They filled his car with popcorn because he forgot to bring him donuts. And when you've won 15 in a row, you can have fun like that.
Yeah, certainly the best team in the East, by far, at least record-wise, and they're playing well together. I love that. The Detroit Pistons, though, can I just talk about them for just a minute?
Sure.
In the East?
Uh-huh.
They're playing damn good basketball. Last year, they won 14 games.
Mm-hmm.
I look at their roster as it is assembled, and I see a great mix of draft picks and veteran players. And I'm wondering how they can assemble a roster like that and get back it so quickly, and the Spurs can't. It's a serious question. If you've got an answer for me, I'll listen. I mean, I'm just saying, it troubles me to see a team like Detroit, who has done well in the draft. They've picked well in the draft, but they've also surrounded those draft picks with veteran players like Tobias Harris, for example. Malik Beasley's another guy that they surround them with. You got a guy like Dennis Schroeder, who is on that roster.
I look at what the Spurs tried to do this year, and the Wemby situation does throw a monkey wrench into that because they're not going to win without him. The trade for De'Aaron Fox. But when you look at the last two drafts, you're going to get 2 rookies of the year in Castle, and you had Wemby last year. But still trying to figure out how Jeremy fits. Josh Primo was a number 1 pick that clearly didn't work. You go back to Devin Vassell, you wonder about his long term. You had Luka and Keldon back in 19. Lonnie Walker, not around anymore. Derek White playing great for Boston. But I do think the Spurs could be like Detroit, especially this offseason. When you get in the lottery, you're going to get another draft pick. And when you've got all that draft capital that they have, do you either make a trade for one of those veteran guys, or are they going to be players in free agency? The idea of skipping steps, I think we're past that and we're ready to build and move forward. This year, a setback with the blood clot that Wemby is dealing with. But I think that trade that they made for De'Aaron Fox, when they made it, was the Spurs telling us as fans, this year we're gunning for the playoffs. And then, of course, Wemby's done for the season. Would be not at all surprised if over the weekend or on Monday, when the Spurs are in Los Angeles, we hear that De'Aaron Fox actually had surgery and he's going to be out for the rest of the year. But I think this was the year they were going to push on that gas pedal to get there. And now we're looking at next year. So this summer, this offseason for the Spurs, probably the biggest in years, is like, all right, we've collected everything we need for the rebuild. Now we got to put all this together and actually go win some basketball games.
Agree. And part of that is, you've got your stars, I think. You've got Castle, you've got Wemby, you've got Fox. You've got to start finding the right fit next to them. And we're seeing Devin is excelling with Wemby out of the lineup because he is now the main focal point of the offense. You need to find people that know a role and can fit into a role. And I think that's going to be very important moving forward for the San Antonio Spurs as you build this roster around Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, and Steph Castle. You're going to need shooters, and you're going to need some guys in the paint that can bang. And you've got to find the right fits, whether free agency or through the draft or trades with those picks. But you've got your superstars assembled. At some point, you got to start filling out the rest of the roster because what's there ain't it. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I'm James Pledger, right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. When we come back, we'll put a bow on the show, get you ready for the evening, and conference tournaments are underway. Texas, the bubble chances have improved. We'll discuss coming up here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Thursday on the Morning Huddle, it has been a busy week. Spurs, Mavericks, could they overcome the manpower advantage? And, oh, by the way, conference tournaments are busy too.
And NFL free agency rolls on. Any more big moves for the Cowboys? We'll talk about that and plenty more. Morning Huddle starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Guys, if you ever spend time on social media, you'll often find yourself just being hit with bad news and worse comments, and you'll see how everybody's life is so picture perfect, and they've got this great job promotion, and you're wondering, man, where am I? It's hard not to get wrapped up in how everyone else is doing. Imagine how you'd feel if you just spent 45 minutes focused on how you're doing. That's what they're about at Cerebral. They make it easier than ever to access dedicated therapists and doctor-prescribed medication personalized to you. And the best part, Cerebral offers in-network care so you can focus on feeling better without worrying about the cost. If you're dealing with stress, anxiety, you want to be more present and focused, you want to sleep better, you want to have better relationships, you've got to work on yourself. Cerebral is proud to be an official sponsor of the San Antonio Spurs. Just like athletes prioritize their physical health, mental health is just as important, and Cerebral's here to help you build a strong foundation for your overall being. So take the first step today. Visit Cerebral.com to see how affordable and accessible mental health care can be with insurance. Cerebral, make time for mind time.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning. The cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate all y'all for riding along with me tonight. Whether that's on 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com, VRAA Best Bail Bonds audio player, or if you're watching on YouTube, I appreciate everybody for rolling through tonight and joining me. Conference tournaments are in action right now, and Texas Longhorns got a big win today as they held off Vanderbilt, who made a late push, got a 79-72 win over the Commodores, and in doing so, their tournament chances from the bubble raised significantly from like 27 to 41% right now. And that's massive. Now, it gets tougher as they continue to go on because the SEC is one of the best conferences in college basketball right now. And in the second round, they're going to have to face 14th ranked Texas A&M. Of course, you can catch that game tomorrow over on San Antonio's ESPN AM 1250 and FM 103.3. If you want to catch that game, we are your home for the Aggies right here. So we will have that game for you over there. Pregame starts at 2. Tip-off is at 2:30 tomorrow. It'll also be televised on the SEC network. Texas has to make some sort of run within the SEC tournament if they want to punch their ticket into the tournament. And Rodney Terry needs this if he wants to return, because he is literally coaching for his job right now. I feel like if they miss the tournament with the talent that was on that roster with Trey Johnson, who's going to be a top 10 pick in the NBA draft, potentially a San Antonio Spur, then you better make the tournament. And if you don't make the tournament, I mean, your time could be very, very quickly running out. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure. Don't forget, AJ and Rob get you started in the morning, tomorrow morning, right here at 6 o'clock. It's going to be a lot of fun with them, as it is every morning. And of course, the Blitz, you can join them live from Round Table Pizza in New Braunfels. So I know we go all the way out to South Austin now with the signal on the FM. And all those in New Braunfels that are always wondering, you never come to our side of town, you never do this. Well, the guys, they're going to be at Round Table Pizza in New Braunfels tomorrow. So join them tomorrow out there from 2 to 6. Round Table Pizza, where, get you a good slice of pie, maybe a salad like Greg from the salad bar. And then, of course, you can close the day right here with me, James Pledger, on San Antonio Sports Star with Extra Innings with Pledge. Until next time, we'll see y'all tomorrow right here on San Antonio Sports Star. Call your loved ones. Make sure you tell them that you're thinking about them, because you never know what people are going through in life. Some people put on facades, and you don't know what the deeper things they're going through in life are. So just let people know you're thinking about them. Let's be kind to one another, and we'll catch you tomorrow right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio Sports Star.
Something amazing is happening in workplaces everywhere. Devices are learning how people work and adapting to help them get more done. That's